According to the Spanish Society of Medical Oncology, in 2020, there would be 32,953 new cases of breast cancer. This number means many girls not being able to fulfill their professional dreams and or have children. Many women missing out on their 50th birthday celebration or getting to their grandchildren, and many singles who will not be attending christenings, weddings, or living the life of retreat somewhere warm. But these people, like our guest today, have set their minds to prevent this from happening. It is my pleasure to introduce you to Doctora De Mattos-Arruda. She is a medical oncologist and researcher. She obtained her medical degree in Brazil, PhD from the Autonomous University of Barcelona. Since 2009, she has been conducting research on breast cancer, for which she has obtained several awards and scholarships that have taken her across the world, visiting some of the most prestigious oncology centers, such as the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York. She is currently back in Barcelona as group leader at the ECCO-AACR Foundation. In less than a month, on February the 11th, we will be celebrating the International Day of Women in Science. So I could not think of a better way to start the celebration than to have Dr. Mattos with us today.
Thank you so much for this kind and beautiful introduction. I put my slides. I hope you can see them.
Yes, we can see them.
Great. So I'll start my presentation. So thank you very much for the invitation. My name is Leticia. I'm a group leader in a group called Precision Oncology and New Antigens for Therapeutic Vaccines for Cancer here in Barcelona. The topics I would like to discuss with you today is one of them is my path to become a doctor, what to expect as a clinician scientist, which are the skills and strengths and challenges that we face, and my specific area of work. So let me start with the story of a Chinese bamboo tree. So when you have this plant, the Chinese bamboo tree, and you put water on the ground, in the first year, second year, third year, nothing happens. But until the fifth year, in the fifth year, the plant will start to grow, and it's grow up to 90 feet, which is almost 30 meters in just 5 weeks. So what I'm telling you about this, because study and training are the foundation for a future academic and professional life. So how I became a doctor. When I was your age, I was thinking of being a lawyer or a journalist or even a doctor. And when I was 18, I said, I want to be a doctor and follow my father's steps. So and I became a medical oncologist. An oncologist is a doctor that treats cancer. So 40 million people in the world are affected by cancer today. And cancer, as you know, may happen when cells that are not normal, they start growing and spread very fastly and in an uncontrollable way. And cancer, it's driven by DNA alterations. So my focus today is on breast cancer. Breast cancer is one of the most common cancers in women in the world, and in Spain, 1 out of 8 women they have breast cancer. There are treatments for that. The majority of women, they are cured, but we still need to do research to understand this better and to help the women that are not cured. So I'll tell you a little bit about my path. I was born and raised in Brazil, where I did high school, and then I attended medicine school and a good university, and then residency to get trained to be an oncologist. After that, when I finished my residency, I had interesting conversations with some international doctors. They said, why you don't go to Europe or to United States to pursue more training and to learn more? So that's what I did. I contacted some doctors in Europe, in Spain, in Barcelona, in Belgium, in Brussels, and in France. So I decided to go to Barcelona to the Vall Institute of Oncology under the mentorship of a doctor, perhaps you know him, is Jose Baselga, who is now in the United States. And I start doing my fellowship. A fellowship is a training. And then I started my master's and then a PhD degree in the Universitat Autònoma of Barcelona. After that, I said, I want to learn more. Why not go overseas and to learn things that we are not so strong here? So I went to the United States to a place called Memorial Sloan Kettering, which is a very good cancer center. I stayed there 1 year. And then I had the opportunity to go to Britain, to the UK, as a research fellow. And I went to Cancer Research UK, Cambridge Institute. At that moment, I was being funded by the Spanish Association Against Cancer. And I had a contract to come back to Spain to bring the knowledge to Spain. So I came back to Barcelona and I got a position as a junior group leader at my same hospital, at Vall University Hospital. So, and then I became a clinician scientist. So what to expect to be a clinician scientist? So what do I wanted? I wanted to understand what was happening to my patients, because some of my patients...
Dr. Leticia, sorry, yes. Can I interrupt?
Yes.
We are not seeing the slides move on. Okay, now we are. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
How can you do that? I'll stop here and go back. Can you see now?
Yes, what I wanted.
Exactly, what I wanted. So, yes, so I will just go back. Maybe you lost the map. Can you see the map? No.
No.
Yes, that's a Teams problem. No problem. So what I wanted, I'm talking about why I wanted to be a clinician scientist. I'm a doctor by training, but I wanted to understand what was happening to my patients that were not doing well with the treatment. So I said, why not go into the laboratory to understand, to analyze the tumor, the DNA, and see if I can find solutions and bring this back to the patients. So that's called translational research. Translational is a kind of bridging what is in the clinics and what is in the laboratory. Next slide. I hope you can see my motivation was to understand better science so we could improve the patient's treatment and also to help the patients live longer. Is it moving? Can you see the next slide? Yes.
Yes, to be a clinician.
Exactly.
Yes.
So to be a clinician scientist, first we need more training. We need to get more skills, and for that we can do fellowships, and also we can do a doctorate, to do a PhD. So, and in a way to get experience in running projects from the beginning until the end, to be able to design protocols, to run experiments in the laboratory. To understand what the results that we have. Sometimes we fail, sometimes we achieve some good results, and in the end to be able to write down what we get, the results, and put this into scientific articles. So we have some questions to have in mind when we want to be a clinician scientist, when we want to be a doctor that do research like me. What are the important areas of research in my field? So my field is oncology. And in my moment, I thought breast cancer is very good because it's one of the most frequent cancers in women. So finding solutions, I can help lots of women. Also, do I have the skills to be successful? I think my thoughts are, if we are we have passion for a topic and background, if we are studying and we work hard and we are going to learn, and we can have success. So being a clinician scientist, we also need mentors like teachers. They are usually people that are experts in their field, and they guide us and help train us for us to achieve good results. And the last question is, should I go abroad? So my answer is yes. I've been traveling quite a lot, and I think when we go to another country and this open our minds, we get more mature, we can lead better with problems, and we learn about new realities. So this is my picture when I was doing a fellowship, a training sponsored by the European Society for Medical Oncology. That was a very good training that planted the seeds for my PhD thesis. So what are the skills and strengths that we need to be a clinician scientist? So we need to be focused, we need persistence, we need to ask good questions. And of course, sometimes we ask questions that are not good enough, but we have to have critical thinking and to be able to analyze situations. We also need to be very patient. And importantly, we need to work together with other people, with our colleagues and with our teams, because today we cannot work alone. It's very important to build collaborations. Another point is that regarding the technology development, today we need to have IT skills. We need to be able to code and to handle data, and also be able to do management of projects, and also to be management of funding of the money that we are spending on the experiments. And what are the challenges? Well, there is competition like in any other field. The research may not work in a first attempt. This is quite normal. Of course, if something does not work, we have to replan, and we have to find other hypotheses and other solutions. We need to get funding or money for research all the time. We need to be applying for grants. Grants are like kind of contests that we apply and say what we want to do, and if our proposal is good, we receive some money for the research. So we have some boring tasks that must be done, including this paperwork, and also we of course we are going sometimes to be multitasking. We have to be doing several things at the same time, but with something in mind. We need to have a work-life balance, and also to prioritize what is important for us and for our family. So, my area of work. I've been leading research in two areas. The first one, it's about liquid biopsies. So, in cancer, when we have a patient with cancer, the normal thing is to get a needle and to do a biopsy on the tumor. So this is how doctors they take the tumor, takes to the laboratory, have a look at the microscope, and can classify and see which kind of cancer it is. And like this, the patient can receive a treatment. So that's the normal and standard of care. But this has problems. This is not very easy. Some tumors, some cancers, they are hidden inside the body of the patient. Some are not easy to achieve with a needle, and this can cause pain and some risks. And of course, this is invasive. What we are studying are the liquid biopsies. So a liquid biopsy, it's basically a blood sample. We can take a blood sample, and we know that the DNA, that the same DNA that it's in the cancer, it's floating in the blood of the patients, and it's diluted with DNA from normal cells. But with the new technologies, we are able to detect this DNA that is coming from the tumor and have the same information as while doing a standard biopsy. So this is quick, this is easy, and minimally invasive, and does not cause problems for the patient. So a liquid biopsy is already a reality in some cancers, like lung cancer, when a patient does not have or cannot be done a real biopsy in the patient. We can take a blood sample and analyze the DNA from the blood sample. So the second area of my research is to understand how the immune system acts against cancer. So the immune system is our defense. So our defense is always looking to kill foreigner things like bacteria, virus like the COVID or a flu, and also cancer cells. So in the immune system the main players are the T cells. So the T cells have some molecules on their surface, and they try to recognize the molecules of the cancer cells. And when it does this, there is a green light that says, oh, let's attack and kill. So like this, a T cell can attack and kill the cancer and destroy it. So what we are studying here is these green proteins here called neoantigens that are on the surface of the cancer cells. So they come from mutations and they can be recognized by T cells. So this is the focus of the research. And why neoantigens are important? Because they can be targets for therapeutic cancer vaccines. Basically, if you have a patient with cancer, we can make a biopsy or a liquid biopsy, but this is something we are still developing. We take the DNA, we process, we do sequencing, we do computational analysis, we do laboratory studies, and we take a group of neoantigens for each tumor. And the idea is to put this inside a vaccine, and a vaccine to treat patients with cancer. Like this vaccine is going to redirect the immune cells against the cancer with the objective of killing the cancer of the patient. So this is not easy, but we are working and I'm passionate about what I'm doing. We have been publishing papers. I've been leading a group of researchers here in Barcelona and also giving talks in several conferences. So, and I'd like to go back to the story of the Chinese bamboo that teaches lessons about perseverance, growth, patience, development, and also importantly, human potential. That this is a thing that we all have. So my take for you today is to learn as much as you can, and also don't forget to have fun with what we are doing. So with that, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to be speaking to you today. I'd love to answer questions, and I'll leave you my contact here if you want to contact me after as well.
Thank you very much, Ms. Leticia. We have really enjoyed the presentation. Your life has been really interesting, and you have the power to change lives. So thank you very much. And now the students will have, I'm sure they have questions. So if you may raise your hands. Okay, Mr. Smith, you are they haven't raised their hands in Teams, but in person. If they raise their hands in Teams, I can see their names. Or you can.
First, we have a question from Lucia.
Well, it's not really a question. I just wanted to say thank you very much, because a person in my family had cancer and then she died of it. And I think that someone that spent a lot of time in their life researching and helping people about this cancer, I think you should receive enormous amounts of respect. So thank you very much.
No, thank you so much. I'm really pleased.
Thanks, Lucia. Carmen? I'll give up my computer and let the students take over.
There is a cancer of eyebrows.
You mean the eyebrows?
The eyebrows.
Ah, the eyebrows. Usually we have cancer of the skin that can be under the eyebrows, because usually it's in the live cells that are developing The eyebrows are, we don't have, but we have in the skin, and the skin are like cancer, skin cancer, and another one called melanoma that is quite severe. That can appear in the face and in areas exposed to the sun.
Great, thank you.
My pleasure.
Lucas.
I would like to know. First, good afternoon.
Lucas, I
I would
think
like to
he's
know-
waiting. Lucas. Okay.
We only have one microphone in the room, so that's,
Hello again.
come down a bit so we can see you.
What's the most or one of the most severe cancers that you know?
Lung cancer is quite severe. Pancreatic cancer is quite severe. So these kinds of cancer, and also brain cancers, cancers in the brain that unfortunately a patient can die in less than 1 year, even though receiving the best treatments we have so far.
And another question, I would like to know if you see coming a medicine or a cure for cancer or any sort of cancer that is not chemotherapy, because it's not 100% effective always. So I would like to know if there's something that was soon or coming that that is 100% effective in the patients.
I have two answers for you. Firstly, depending on the stage of cancer, if cancer there are 4 stages, stage 1, 2, 3, and 4. Usually cancers in the first stages, they are cured. They are cured with surgery and chemotherapy after surgery, and also with novel treatments called targeted therapy. They go directly with a specific molecule in the tumor. This is not chemo, these are smart therapies. This is already in the clinics. We are already using this. And the second question, you're right, chemotherapy, it's toxic. It does not work all the time. And there are these smart therapies that act against a mutation, a defect in the DNA. And also immunotherapy. That's what I described today. Something we are interested is in the cancer vaccines. And we are teaching the body, the immune system, to act against the tumor. So immunotherapy today, it's a very hot and interesting treatment for cancer. And we have good results already. It's already in the clinics as well. For melanoma, for lung cancer, for cancers of the head and neck, and others.
Just to clarify this for me, what is immunotherapy?
Okay, immunotherapy is to use immunotherapy is to use the immune defenses. It's a kind of teaching the body to get rid of the cancer, to destroy the cancer. Chemotherapy, we say, is cytotoxic. It destroys the cells, the normal and the cancer cells. That's why it causes side effects. Immunotherapy is going to act against the defenses. It's going to help the defenses to revigorate our defenses, to help to make the defenses kill the cancer.
Great. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Hello. Thank you very much. I found your presentation very interesting. My question is, what was the saddest experience you had to live in your work?
Well, that's a very good question. I had when I have patients, actually, we have personal experiences with family with cancer, and we have patients' experience. They are all very difficult. So when I have a patient, she was 23 years old with breast cancer. She had the whole life to live. We treated her with several treatments. We make huge efforts, but in the end, she couldn't make it, and she passed away. That was very sad.
I'm very sorry. Thank you very much.
Thank you
very much.
Thanks, Nico.
Hello, I'm Nika, and I want to have a question. That what is your further investigation on cancer?
Yes, my investigation, as I said, are the liquid biopsies and also the cancer vaccines, the immunotherapy. And we are trying to teach the immune system and make the immune system of the patients more strong, to look for the cancer cells, to go after like an army, you know, the immune cells are like an army in the body, and they go after the cancer cells. I say, oh, I found you and I'm killing you. So that's what we are doing right now.
Can I add a second part to this question?
Yes.
I've never heard of a cancer vaccine. Is this something very new? Because I don't think I've seen this in the news. Or so is this like happening now, or is this science fiction, possibly 10 years in the future?
Well, it's already being tested in clinical trials in patients. The first publications were 5 years ago, 2015 and 2017, yes. And this is a new hot topic in oncology. There is disinterest in cancer vaccines because of the development of computational analysis and next generation sequencing, because now we are able to do sequencing of the DNA. And like this, you can identify doing everything in a row at the same time. And we have more material now to do this. So that's why it's been 5 years already. It's not so much in the news, but I'm sure in the next few years, it's going to be in the news. And there is a lot of people investigating in the United States, in Germany, in the UK.
Thank you from me as well.
Thank
Other
you.
questions?
I have one concerning the one that Mr. Steve has done, that the vaccine that you are investigating will be, for example, when we are children, we all receive a vaccine, and that protects us from a lot of viruses and things from the future. And this vaccine we are going to have it once we are ill, or in advance in preventing future illnesses?
That's an excellent question, because there are several kinds of vaccines. The vaccines that we take when we are children, when it's to prevent diseases. This is one thing. The vaccines we are studying here is to treat. It's a therapeutical vaccine. It's when the patient, they have cancer, we need to take the tumor, we need to take the DNA, and the DNA, we do the sequencing, and then we know which are the proteins that are outside that are going to be asking the immune cells to come. So we need to have a tumor right now to see what are we going to put inside the vaccine. So this is to treat, and possibly the vaccine will be combined with other therapies to make it stronger.
Okay, thank you very much.
While the students are thinking of their next questions, I did have a question as well, if that's okay. It might sound like a silly question, but before we started the meeting, I was talking to the students and I told them my understanding of cancer, just from a couple of popular science books that I have read. Could you give the students your answer to that question, maybe from a slightly more intelligent perspective than mine? What is cancer to someone who, to a young student who hasn't studied this kind of thing?
Mm-hmm. So cancer, it's a cell. We have cells in our body. So they have a trigger, something that makes the cells starting proliferating without stop. They get different characteristics. They start to be very strange in their shape, in their attitude, and they do not die. Usually our cells, they are born and die, and there is a renovation of cells. But cancer cells, they do not stop. They keep proliferating. That's what makes them aggressive and with the capacity to grow and also to go to other places, to other organs.
And how do they cause us damage?
Well, that's an excellent question as well. So cause damage, if a cancer infects, for instance, a breast cancer, it starts in the breast of a woman. And if it's small, you can make a surgery and take it out, cut it off, and that's okay. But if it's there, it's going to start growing. It's going to be invading and disseminating. It can go to the circulation, and the cells go in the circulation, and they're going to stop in some organ. For instance, they are going to the liver, they can go to the lung, they can go to the brain, they can go to the bones. And when they go to other organs, they become not curable anymore, and they start causing problems. A patient can have anemia, can have the defenses can get lower. You can get a failure of the organ. You can have more infections, and if it's growth, it can compress some part, and there are a million problems that can happen.
Well, I see. That has satisfied me and hopefully the students as well. Any more questions? One student did ask me a question before we started, which has come to mind as well. To what extent is cancer genetic? If someone in my family has had cancer, do I have a more probability of also getting cancer?
Yes, that's a very good question as well. Less than 10% of cancers, they are genetic, they are inherited. The majority of them are what we call sporadic. They appear because they appeared and they are not transmitted. But the one transmitted from mother, father to the sons, they are genetic. And there is more possibility, and the possibilities are quite big for the person to have. But the person has to be tested. They have to do genetic tests to confirm that they have the genes that predispose to have this kind of cancer.
And are these very specific types of cancer, or is it like breast cancer, skin cancer, the common prostate cancer? Can these be genetic as well?
And yes, breast cancer can be genetic, and in 8% of the cases, ovarian cancer can be genetic, prostate cancer can be genetic, yes, and so on. So, but as I said, the person needs to be tested to see if they carry the gene or not.
Okay, thank you. Aina.
Okay.
Hello.
I wanted to know if someone of your family or friends had cancer and if that inspired you more and made you work more into trying to look for medicine to cure cancer.
Yeah, very good question as well. Yes, they are people in my family. There were. I have one aunt, the sister of my mom. She had breast cancer, and the cancer spread to the brain, and she passed away, unfortunately. And the sister of my father, she had lung cancer that also spread to the brain, and she didn't make it as well. So I have cases in the family, and this, of course, is very, very sad, but it's part of life. They fought with their cancer. Everything that could have been done, it's done, but it's also, on the other side, motivate us to keep fighting and to keep researching.
Thank you very much, and I'm so sorry.
Helen? Next question coming from the next student.
Are some cancer deadlier than others?
Can you repeat?
Are some cancers deadlier than others?
Yes. Yes, there are cancers deadly than others. There are cancers that are very, as you said, deadly, like pancreatic cancers, like brain cancers, some kinds of lung cancers that, despite therapies, despite the treatment, and despite the patient trying to fight, they are deadly, and the patient and the cancer wins, and the patient loses, unfortunately. So these kinds of cancers, we call them like orphans for therapies. We call the cancer orphan because they do not have so many therapies like pancreatic cancer. So we are also studying pancreatic cancers to try to find new therapies and new solutions for those patients.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lucas?
Hello again, and my question is, so if you would have imagined a little bit of the medicine or the cure for cancer, let's say, and there are three persons, a baby, which it's not common, of course, that a baby has cancer, but just imagine that a baby has cancer, although the baby will probably pass the cancer, but still, it's a baby. A very old man, or not so old man, but a little, but that is pretty sick. To who would you give the cure to?
You're asking me to select a person, for me to choose a person.
Yeah.
To give a therapy.
Yeah, only one. Only one.
That's difficult to say, but and what we do with the others, we try to treat them as well.
But can you just just from I don't, maybe not from the protocol you guys follow, but just who would you choose? It's a very hard decision because you don't want anyone to die. But if there's only one you can save, who would you save?
Well, firstly, if I could, I would treat all of them, and I would save the three of them. If I have to choose, I would choose the ones with highest possibility of cure.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Questions? I had one more. I'm interested to know, what is a typical day researching cancer? Because I find it difficult to imagine what you do when you get to work in the morning and then you have 8 hours, 10 hours working. What is that time spent doing?
That's a good question as well. So I'll say in a non-COVID times, when I can go to the hospital every day and without restrictions. So I arrive at the hospital 7:30, 8 a.m. I have my team. I'm not doing the lab experience myself, but I have my team right now. On the one hand, I coordinate them. I have meetings with them. We discuss research results. I go to the oncology where the patients are to talk to my colleagues, and we are always collaborating to get material, to get samples of the patients. So I go there as well, talk to them. I have to write I have lots of academic work to do. I have to write papers, I have to write articles, I have to prepare presentations, I have to ask grants, like for funding our research. So it's a non-stopping work, and I have teleconferences, video conferences with collaborators, discussing, working together, discussing results. For instance, today I had a meeting with a person in German. On Monday, I had a meeting with a colleague in the UK. Tomorrow, I have a meeting with the Barcelona Supercomputing Center. They are helping us in the vaccine project. So it's all about, as I said, working together and collaborating and doing academic tasks. And in normal ways, people travel as well to give talks in conferences and attend conferences.
Very interesting.
Okay. I have some questions if we have time. The first one is that there are some things, some factors that trigger developing, for example, a melanoma. How does the sun trigger this process of developing a melanoma? Because it changes the ADN.
Exactly. So the UV light changes the DNA,
Yes.
and this changes the DNA, and the DNA predisposes to, we have more mutations. It's all about the mutations in the cancer cells. So, and then the normal cells, they becomes tumor cells, and they start proliferating, and then that's what it happens. It's all about the UV light causing big problems. That's why we should protect ourselves, use glasses and put sunscreen and so on.
Okay. Another question is that I have heard that patients who has really want to live, they fight better cancer. I don't know if that's something that is already tested, that people who really want to live, they have more probabilities to live. And if it is like this, do you have any medical reason that they produce more hormones or something to verify this?
Can you repeat the question? They want to live?
Yes, that the people who have cancer, and the ones that really want to live, and they really want to cure, and they have passion for life, and they are really interested in fighting, they have more probabilities to be cured than the ones that they are not. So
I agree. It's all about mindset and about being positive and about the way you deal with the problems, and this reflects in your immune system. Having a negative personality, I read this a few years ago. Negative personality, this influences the way you receive the world. So if you are negative and you shut down yourself, it's the probability that things are not going to be okay. But as you said, not all the time, but when a person is more positive and wants to fight, in general, the survival chances can be higher.
Okay. And the last one, I promise I let the students making another question. I have a friend whose cousin has cancer, and every 2 years he has to be operated because in the hair or in the lungs or things like that. And this is because they don't find the original cancer. So how can cancer hide in the body? How they cannot find where it starts developing in other parts?
Cancer is a very smart thing. Cancer, there's a kind of a classification for cancer called cancer of unknown site. It's where you do not discover by any reason where it started. There is this classification. That's what your cousin should have. But the metastasis, the dissemination appears. Now they pop up, and you treat and you have to do a test to see how do they look, and you treat them according to what they look like. So I think that's why cancer, it's a very trick disease, and I think cancer is so smart that it tricks the immune system and can make the immune system stop working and be exhausted. You know, that's what happened in the end of life of many patients that are dying.
Thank you very much.
Hello.
Hello.
I have a question. Is it possible to have 2 cancers at the same time? And if yes, do you treat one first and then the other, or both at the same time?
Oh, that's an excellent question. That depends on the combination of cancers, for instance. If you can have skin cancer and a breast cancer, usually you treat the one that is more urgent, and the one that can have a systemic or a problem more faster. And sometimes there is for instance, a chemotherapy that acts in both, depending. I've treated that in the past. A patient with lung cancer, was not metastasis, but was a lung cancer and a breast cancer. And it works. So you have to balance and see in every case what is best. And we also have multidisciplinary meetings. We meet the surgeon, the oncologist, the radiotherapist, the radiologist, and all the specialties to make a consensus and decide what is best for that patient.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I think there is one more question, Mr. Smith, or not?
There's Ina? I've got a question anyway. While Ina is deciding, I did have a question. You said before, cancer is cells that don't die. So if we know cells that don't die, does this mean that immortality is possible and people can live forever using whatever cancer cells do?
This is not my field of expertise, but I know that in some countries people are trying to freeze themselves and to try immortality. So there are people researching this, but I cannot comment much.
I know.
Hello again.
Hello.
I would like to ask if when you were little, did you have family support and was your life easy, or did you have some problems in your childhood?
Okay, if I have problems, how? To study or?
If your family always supported you in whatever you wanted to do, or not?
Yes, my family always supported me. So my parents didn't need to ask me to study because I used to like to study very much. And sometimes they had to say for me to stop studying because I was studying too much. But they usually helped me in every step that I needed. And also to make decisions and to see what I was going to choose and to see my choices in school and also in university.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we have to finish because Ms. Leticia has other meetings. So, is there any question, Mr. Smith?
We had one final question.
Okay, really quickly, please.
One thing, which is the less complex cancer to treat or to cure?
The more complex or the least?
The less complex.
Well, let me think. The less complex? That's a good question as well. So I think they're all complex diseases, but I think the less complex is the one that you can make a small surgery and get rid of them and they never come back. It's like the skin cancer, the normal skin cancer, that's the most frequent in the world, not the melanoma, but it's the normal skin cancer that arises, for instance, in our skin. And this is a piece of cake to get rid of these. And it does not invade, it does not get to internal organs. I can't say that this is the way.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the students' question has been really interesting, and thank you very much for your session because it's like a balloon of oxygen after the week that we can have this kind of sessions, and we have been able to speak with you about this. Thank you very much. I hope we see you again in the future.
Yes, I would like to thank you all and the students, everyone, for your questions and for participating.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. A quick round of applause. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.